Okay, you can go back into Notepad and close out this file. We'll come back to it after spring break when we start adding style to it. So the next thing that we're going to move on to is, now that you know basic HTML code and you understand the concepts of divs, meaning this is my header, this is my navigation, this is my body content, this is my footer, we're actually going to build from scratch a 3-page site for your business. So you guys have each come up with a business. Now granted, they're only going to be text-based and some photos that you're going to find on the internet, but so they're not going to be gorgeous by any means. We're just going to get through the code part of it and understand how to actually build this. So the first thing I want you to do, and if you need a sheet of paper, if you don't have anything, like run back to the copy machine and just grab a blank piece of paper. I want you to think about how you're going to have this page look. And again, don't get crazy with multiple pictures because we're not at that level yet. But what's going to be at the top that the people see? What's going to be up there? What's going to be your navigation? What are your navigation things going to be? How many buttons are you going to have? Where is it going to be? Do you want it on the left side, or do you want it right underneath your header? Where's your body copy? All of your stuff going to go on your home page or your index page, and what are you basically going to say on that page? And then a footer, like what basic things are you going to put in your footer, including a copyright always goes down there this year. So I want you to sketch it out, and then I'm going to look at it with you, and we're going to discuss, yep, this looks good. Here's where the divs should be. Think about, like, this is my header div, this is my nav div. Kind of circle those or put boxes around them so that you have a visual representation of how your code is going to look before you start writing it. Okay? So you have to have an index page, an about page, and a contact page. Those are the 3 that you're going to be making. So index is your home page, what people see right when they come there. And again, it doesn't have to be ginormous. It's, you know, a couple of paragraphs and a picture or 2. We're going to talk about images also. And then your about page is going to have a picture or 2 and talk about what your business is about. And then your contact page is going to have, obviously, hyperlinks to your email, a fake one. Use your fake Gmail for now. And like an address and a phone number, how people will contact you. Okay? So go ahead and think about that and sketch that out. And when you're ready to have me look at it, I want to look at them all before we move on to the next step.
Anything can be about anything?
So here's an example of a web page where, okay, this is already too difficult now that I see that drop down show up. But in general, this is what the header is, right? This white area right here. And inside their header, they have their logo. So over on the left, they have their logo. But they also put their navigation inside of here. You wouldn't have to. Sometimes this is like a picture and a logo and the physical address is typed out over here. That's what a header is. Let me find another website. I guess, I tell you, every website is so difficult now. Anybody know a local company that might have a website that I could at least try? I'm drawing a blank here.
Evans, Shore Falls?
Do they have one?
I'm not sure.
I don't either. Whoops, I meant to say that.
They do.
Uniquely Evans, that is for sure.
Look at that.
Hey! So, what's their header? What's in their header, guys?
Location.
Yeah.
Logo, or whatever,
Location.
2 locations,
And a
and
call.
like a call to action button to call us. What's this?
And their menu, like their
Navigation.
Navigation, exactly, and they chose to have it left to right. Here's their body content, and what they chose to put in that is a background picture with type over top of it. We don't need to get that elaborate right now, but that's what's in their body. Then they have a section down here of maybe categories, and you can see that they have it divided out a little bit more. Don't even worry about that. Here's their footer. What's in their footer? Again, it's almost always the physical, how to get to it, contact information, hours quite often go in footers, and their copyright down here. So this is a basic, these are 4 chunks, literally like I drew on the board, of rectangles on top of each other. Header at the top, then navigation, then content, then footer, without making it harder. That's basically what this is. So all 3 of your pages are going to have that same look and layout. The only thing that's going to change is this middle part, right? When we get to the contact page, it's still going to have this at the top, it's still going to have all this, still has that, still has your navigation, but now the contact information, this third section, the content or body content, whatever they're calling it, changes. Footer stays the same. When you get to About Us, we don't really have one, so let's just say Toys is About Us. Nothing in the header changed, nothing in the navigation changed. What changed is the content down here. The layout of it, the way they have it set up with a pretty picture in the back and everything, that didn't change, but this stuff changes. And at the bottom, footer stays exactly the same. So.
That's good. That really answers my question. I just didn't want to do like double of everything.
No.
When it's all right there, but the way they did it there, it's just like.
That's a perfect example. That was a great one to pull up. Let me see if. Did you get a chance to send that, Zach, or not yet? I don't have it yet. So yeah, what you're kind of doing is making a wireframe, is what we call them. It's a rectangular sketch, and inside it you're deciding how things are going to look. At that top rectangle called the header, what are you going to put up there? What Evans put up there was a logo, their location, and their phone number. Some sites have the navigation running along the left-hand side over here, so then you would draw a vertical rectangle over here if you wanted your navigation to be stacked over here on the left. And then your content would be the larger area here to the right. That could work as well. It's entirely up to you. The cool thing is that when we go to actually do these layouts, if you change your mind and want, still not showing up, and want the navigation suddenly to be on the left, you can easily do that. Or your client says put the navigation back at the top, you can easily do that. These are just chunks of information that get populated in different places. So draw out your little wireframe and think about where you're going to position things and what in general is going to go in each one of those. What I'm expecting on each page is at least like a paragraph of type in your body content and a picture, because we know how to put pictures in. And I'm expecting something up in your header, obviously, the name of your company, how to reach you, phone number, something. As far as a logo goes, if you find something online that's like a fake logo for you, you guys have already kind of done that with your Animoto, so that can go up there as well. All right. No, it's not coming through for whatever reason. We'll come back to that though. So, Evans is a great example. Thank you, Evans. On their Contact Us page, obviously they've dropped in a Google Map. That's something that I don't expect you to do, but frankly, with some of the software we're going to use in a few weeks, like WordPress or Wix, it's really easy to do. But I do expect you to have, your fake address, or if you're an online store, figure out how you're going to go about that. Does that help? Any questions on what we're going for here? Okay, good. Let's everybody minimize back to your desktop or wherever your Bubble Under folder lives. Before we move on, I want to share another best practice. So find your Bubble Under folder and open it up. And living loosely, freely inside this folder, we have our 3 web pages, HTML pages, and we have our 1 image. Now think of a website, even like Evans. They've got, let's say, 20 pages and 75 photos. If this were their folder, you would see 20 plus 75 loose things all throughout here, alphabetized. So the pictures would be scattered in and amongst the HTML files. A best practice is to have your files organized better and to have a subfolder inside here, inside of Bubble Under, called Images. So inside this folder, let's create a new folder and call it lowercase images. Okay, always use lowercase. So there's something called images. Now let's move our one picture, the divers circle image, physically move it up into the images folder, drag it up into the images folder. Now you see it's much cleaner. And again, think about a huge website where you have lots of pages and lots of pictures. You know now that all of your photos or graphics or whatever live inside a subfolder called images. There's just one problem that we're going to have to fix. This looks clean here. Let's go back to our page and open our bubble under index page. So in Notepad, open, and from bubble under, the index page is our starting page. And remember that right here, where did it go? I scrolled too fast. We have a photo on that page. And we told it to go and find it. The source was just the name of the file because it was living loosely in that folder. Watch what happens when we go to view this now in Chrome. See how the photo doesn't show up? But look what did show up was our alt tag. So that's why we do alt tags, for a variety of reasons. Screen readers will read that to the person out loud and explain what the picture that they are not seeing is about. And then when there's a broken link or it just doesn't work, we at least see the alt tag. So we kind of know what we're missing. So how we fix that back in our code is we made a folder in there. So we just need to change this source line just a little bit. So inside the quotation marks where divers circle starts, we're going to write images, so that's the name of the folder, / divers circle. And that tells it you need to go to the images folder, and inside there you will find divers circle. So when you make a subfolder for your images, every time you use a picture in your code, from that point forward, you have to tell it, hey, it's not just loose in this folder, in our root folder, you actually have to go into the subfolder called images. So you're going to have to add images / to make it work. And if you save it and run it, it knows exactly where to go. It was smart enough to know, hey, I have to go back to, it's not just hanging out here, I now have to go into this images folder, and there it is. So in the site that you're going to build for yourself, I want you to do it following best practices, and I want you to have an images folder. So here's what we're going to do, and then I'm going to let you have work time. Let's go, I'm just going to go to my desktop, but you guys should put this wherever it is you can work on it, from here, from home, whatever. This is going to be your homework. We're going to make, if you want to just do it on your desktop for now and then save it to a different location or a jump drive, you can. We're going to make a brand new folder on your desktop. So I just right click and choose new folder if you're on a PC. And you're going to name this very simply and clearly the name of your company website. So Soul something? Do we have Soul Shoes or something here?
Soulmate.
Soulmates. That could be the name of your folder. So I'm going to say, what's my website about? I don't know, so I'm calling it Soulmates. Look at that, I stole your business. So, inside of this folder is where you're going to put everything. The first thing you might want to do is make a subfolder for your images right away too. So inside of it, new folder, images. So now when you bring graphics into your website, you can put them in this folder. Or you can save them to this folder and then just code for them where you want them to show up in your actual website. Then you're going to go back to Notepad, and hopefully you have a template file, or if you don't, remember I gave you that screenshot version of the basic skeleton. It has doc type, HTML. Let me see if I have mine. Hopefully I do. File, open. That's not exactly the perfect one. So do I have a better one? File, open. That's not it. Clean template. There we go. So starting with a clean template, you should have the human comment at the top saying, by the way, this is going to be an HTML document. Then you have your opening HTML tag that lights up with your closing at the very end. It's in the language of English. The head is what search engines see. So for sure you're going to have the title here. That'll show up in the tabs when you view your page. And you're going to have the meta character set of UTF-8. Then in the body, this is where all your stuff shows up. So everything that you just mapped out, like I'm going to have a header, a navigation, a body content, a footer, all of that, everything you see on the page lives within these body tags. And then when you're done, you close out the HTML. So I'm going to have you create your index page first, make sure that it's working and it looks good. And when everything's perfect, the easiest thing to do then is just like we did with Bubble Under, where we took the index page and then we copy and pasted it twice. So we had the exact same code, and then we renamed the other two About and Contact. So now we have 3 pages, they all have the same content, but we just went in and tweaked. So once you get your header, your nav, your first page information, and your footer perfected, those other 2 pages will pop off in seconds. All you need to do is go in and change the body content section to match the About page or the Contact page, just like we did. So you can use any of the files that we did for Bubble Under as reference. Like, how do we do that div again? I can't remember in Bubble Under. Well, pull up Bubble Under index, and you're going to see everything we did. So you're going to do something very similar to this. I do need you to add photos, so for the purpose of this class, you can just go to like Google Images or any royalty-free images to find something and put a picture there. Just be aware that if it's a high-res big photo and you don't do anything to it, which we don't necessarily know how to do yet, it's going to be huge. So if you pull the photo in and it's physically ginormous, you might have to, in the alt tags, tell it a certain size to be. And I believe we did that here. With the diverse circle, it was a square image, or not quite. You can only, if you don't know how to make the height and the width proportionately correct, just tell one of them to be something. So say, this photo that I brought in is ginormous, I only want it to be 500 pixels wide. All you would have to do is code width equals, quote, 500, and that'll shrink down your photo. Okay? Let me look at my notes to see if I'm forgetting anything. So is the general concept of what we're doing here, okay, you're going to be, we already created a new folder and a subfolder within it called Images of your own site. You're going to make these 3 pages, start with and finish out the index page completely, because once you're done with that, like I said, you can copy it 2 more times, rename those. One is going to be About, one is going to be Contact, and then just go back in and tweak the parts that need to be tweaked, the body content. You guys have any questions or concerns? So from now on is work time, and if you want to stay and work on this while you have help, I suspect you'll walk out of here with 0 homework for spring break. If you want to go and work on it over break, that's your call, but it is due. I'm going to have a Dropbox. Oh, the other thing, how you upload to Dropbox. Let me share this because this is pretty important too. So what I'm going to want from you is everything. So like if this is your website, Bubble Under, I'm going to want that whole thing uploaded to Blackboard. Well, how do you go about doing that as a folder? It doesn't quite work. We're going to zip it. Are you guys, is that something simple that you all know about? If not, on a PC, you would select the folder when you're done with it, right click, and say, send to compressed zipped folder, right here. And it's going to make a second folder of the same name with a little zipper on it. That file is going to be named bubbleiunder.zip. It's on your desktop, and when you go into Blackboard, you'll navigate and upload the zip file. If you're on a Mac, it's compressing and same thing. You get the same concept. So when you're all done, into the Dropbox that will be due when we come back to class next week, you'll have your 3-page website with images neatly zipped up. Okay? Alright, if you would like me, I would like to look at each of your little sheets to make sure you're on the right path. I'll come around and talk to you, but go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I'm alright. You just,
Huh?
you just-
How does that just a brief look on there?
Well, look, but I want to stop you